Bash in Berlin was a fun premium live event, but honestly it was probably my least favourite premium live event of 2024 so far. Why? Well, I'm going to explain why in this video. Welcome to Allison Analysis. I'm Ben Allison and I've analysed last night's premium live event Bash in Berlin, and here are my 5 key findings. In at number 5, a Kevin Owens heel turn has to be on the horizon now. Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes was an absolute blast. It was thoroughly enjoyable and went by really quickly, despite the fact it was a 26-minute match. The knee injury added an element to this match which it desperately needed, and honestly at the start of the match I was kind of confused why Cody wasn't selling that knee, but as soon as that spot happened when the knee buckled, I was like, this is perfect, and that was a turning point in this match, and it went from good to absolutely amazing, and Kevin Owens' acting during it was just brilliant. When it comes to character work, when it comes to acting, when it comes to facial expressions, Kevin Owens truly is one of the best in the company at it, and he showed that in this match. We saw glimpses of that prize fighter. We saw him consider doing that powerbomb onto the apron, but he decided against it. But now we've seen a teaser of that. I want to see the full-blown thing. I don't want them to move on from here and ignore that this ever happened. I want it to bug Kevin Owens. I want the fact that he lost to really get under his skin and lead to a heel turn. Because at first I thought this was going to be a one-off match. But now I want to see a full-blown program between the two. But this was a great opener to Bash in Berlin and was potentially the best part of it. I mean, Cody Rhodes' reign so far from an in-ring perspective has been an absolute blast. From a storytelling perspective, it's been up and down. But from a purely in-ring perspective, this guy's been having banger after banger after banger. You might as well call him Sheamus. In at number 4, I hate strap matches, but Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk I loved. The match was probably the best you could possibly do a strap match. It really was. I've always thought it's a dumb stipulation, and it was a really dumb stipulation for this match, for this feud, in my opinion. But as a match on its own, I thought these two did an amazing job. I mean, I just don't understand it. Why on earth during a fight, when you despise a guy, is your aim to go around touching all the 4 corners? It's so stupid. But again, these guys made it really entertaining. And my favourite part of it was when McIntyre was walking around touching all the corners, and he didn't realise Punk on his back was doing the same thing too. That was hilarious. But I'm not going to ignore the fact that these guys couldn't be in the same building for weeks and weeks, and their feud was so heated, and now suddenly they can be tied at the wrist, and instead of hurting each other, they can be focused on touching the corners. I did have a bit of an issue with that. But again, it was a hell of a lot of fun, so if we overlook that point, hey, it was a good match. Now, the only thing which I would have done differently in this match, if it had to be a strap match, was once CM Punk won, I wouldn't have just had him have a happy ending like it seemed like. Because we all know that they're going to have a third match. It's obvious. And I would have done something for, people to want to tune into the TV product following this match to see what happens next. And this idea I'm actually stealing from Shard, who suggested it on Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast on YouTube a couple of days ago. But I loved it. When CM Punk won, Drew McIntyre, before CM Punk could take back the bracelet, should have snapped it, right? Even if it was a fake one, not the real one, he should have just snapped it. And there we have it. CM Punk's won the match, but he's still furious. And it leaves the door open for a third match between the two, which, let's face it, we all know we're getting. It's so obvious that it's going to be the main event of Bad Blood, and it should be as well. But the question is it going to be a Hell in a Cell match or a 3 stages of Hell match? Because honestly, I'd actually prefer a 3 stages of Hell match. Have Punk pick one, McIntyre pick one, and then the third one be a Hell in a Cell stipulation. Give these guys 45 minutes. It would be absolutely brutal and a perfect ending to this brilliant feud. In at number 3, why on earth did Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair drop the women's tag team titles in the first place? Now, before I complain, I actually really enjoyed the match last night, and I'm really glad the women's tag team titles got showcased on a premium live event. But my issue with it is now it makes no sense why they lost the titles in the first place. It wasn't like once they dropped the titles, they did some major character development, right? I mean, the promo package they showed before the show was about as much development as they've had this entire time. It's so blatant that they only gave Unholy Union the tag titles because it was in Scotland, and that's just lazy. I don't like that. I don't think Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill should have dropped the titles until they were going to split up. And hey, sure, it felt early when they dropped them. But if you had them drop them then, they should have just split up then, or that lead to it, or something like that. I think they should have just failed last night, and that's what then leads to a tension between the two, and it leads to their eventual split. I guess that means that they're waiting until WrestleMania to do Bianca Belair versus Jade Cargill, and that's fine, but it's just hot potato in these women's tag team titles. There was no character development. It wasn't like they built themselves back up. It was just all very poorly booked, in my opinion. But hey, shout out to Unholy Union, because I really loved the reign that they had as women's tag team champions, and it ended way too soon for my liking. In at number 2, the new Judgment Day now look really weak. I said going into the Terror Twins versus the Judgment Day last night that the Judgment Day had to win. Why? Well, because every week the Terror Twins have made the Judgment Day look like complete and utter idiots. But that's fine, as long as when it really matters, the Judgment Day win. And of course they weren't going to win cleanly. They shouldn't have won cleanly. But, you know, it's a 5 versus 2 essentially, right? Cheat to win. But instead, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley destroyed the numbers game and won anyway, making them look like complete and utter fools. I was worried going in that this was going to happen, because it's obvious they want to do Rhea versus Liv again, and that's understandable. But if you had Liv and Dom cheat to win, you could have still done that, right? There's so many ways you could have got to that, that's fine. You didn't need to make the Judgment Day look weak in the process. For what it's worth, I did enjoy the actual match, right? I did enjoy it, but just the booking of it, it's really disappointing. And now, as a fan, as a viewer, why should I care about the new Judgment Day? And in at number 1, I did not enjoy Randy Orton versus Gunther as much as everyone else did. I absolutely adored their King of the Ring match earlier this year. I thought it's one of the best matches of 2024 so far. But last night's match, well, it just did not live up to that. It literally felt like a slower version of the exact same thing. And I like long matches. This isn't an attention span thing before anybody comments that. But it just didn't need to go 35 minutes for what they did in it. Like, you could genuinely clip this up and the highlight package could be done in about 30 seconds. And for a 35-minute match, that isn't good enough. What they did in the match, it wasn't enough to justify that long amount of time. It just wasn't. But it is interesting because this match, well, it seems to have divided opinion. Because there are some people saying that it's a 5-star classic, while other people like me are saying, well, to be honest with you, it was a solid main event, but nothing special. And like I said, it was a solid main event. It wasn't bad. It was a solid main event to a solid premium live event. But this year in WWE, we've been spoiled when it comes to premium live events. And to me, to be honest with you, I think this probably was the weakest premium live event of the year so far. But hey, let's be a little bit more positive for a split second, right? Because imagine this premium live event in 2019. We'd be saying it's one of the best ones of the year. So the fact that in 2024 this is one of the worst ones, well, it means that the industry is in a very good place. But what did you guys think of the show? Please let me know in the comments down below, and please like and subscribe as well. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace!